What is up, everybody? Welcome to another NBA Rundown. Today I'm going to break down a primetime game on ESPN, and that's the New Orleans Pelicans traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Los Angeles Clippers. So should be a fun game in in Los Angeles this evening. New Orleans, quick note, Lonzo Ball will be out. That's why this game was around -5, -6 last night when we went to bed, and it's now 7.5 with news that Lonzo has is out. So let's go over what the teams have been doing here real quickly. New Orleans is 2-3 in their last five, but the three losses in a row. They lost 110, 118 to Charlotte. They lost 110, 111 to Indiana and 116 to 118 to Indiana. And then they had a win at home over Toronto, 120 to 116, and Oklahoma City, 113 to 80. The Clippers are 3-2 in their last five. They beat Chicago 130 to 127. They lost to Golden State 115 to 105. They had beat Golden State the game before 108 to 101. San Antonio, they lost 116 to 113, and they had a nice win in Phoenix 112 to 107. So two teams that really aren't necessarily in top form, but not necessarily in bad form either. So let's take a closer look at these games here. One thing I like to go over when I do these now is the rotations. So what we have with the Clippers, they look like they like to run Leonard for the full first quarter. So he's going to get all the run in the first quarter. They'll take Paul George out. The first man to come in is not former Sixth Man of the Year Lou Williams, but it's actually Luke Kennard, so he's getting a little run. And then they'll bring in Lou and Marcus Morris, and they'll take out Batum and Beverly and Ibaka will be taking those minutes. So Beverly's the first one to come out. Luke Kennard comes in, and I think Patrick Beverly is kind of an interesting idea here. Now, officially, he starts at point guard, right? But he's not really running as the point guard. Kind of like how the triangle used to work. He's only averaging 1.9 assists per game. They're running the offense more through the forwards. Kawhi's averaging 5.7 and George averaging 5.4 assists. So Beverly, even though he has the title point guard, has actually been shooting more than distributing. So that's something interesting to look at. We're getting more assists from our forwards than we are from our guards. Also, we're looking at the pace here. Slow pace, slow pace. The Clippers ranked 27th in pace at 97.8 possessions per game this season, and they were eighth last year at 102.2, so that's down a little bit. This will be the lowest ranking for the Clippers since 2012, so maybe they'll pick it up again. New Orleans, 25th in pace at 98.9. Last year they were fourth. So both teams have slowed down, but I still think that this is a byproduct of the new season, and I expect that to pick up a tad. Let's see some other fun facts about the Clippers here before we move on to the Pelicans. Paul George, 50, 40, 90 is pretty good for the little shooting splits. He's going for 50, 50, 90. Right now, he's averaging 49% from the field, 51% from three, 91% free throws. And it's not like he's not taking a lot of threes. He's taking 8.2 attempts per game. So Paul George has definitely been shooting well. I know we like to make a lot of jokes. But he's getting it done on the offensive end. Another fun fact about Paul George, does not have a dunk yet this season. So that is something interesting. Then we're going to switch over to the Pelicans here. They go with a starting five of Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Zion Williamson, Steven Adamson, and Eric Bledsoe. And first to come off the bench, they don't really have like a six-man. They'll bring in Josh Hart and J.J. Redick together, and that's when Zion and Bledsoe will go to the bench. Usually they'll take out Adams right towards the end of the first quarter, and they'll bring in Jackson Hayes to take some of his minutes. And usually Ingram and Lonzo both play the full first quarters. Now tonight, Lonzo will not be starting, so I expect that we will see Josh Hart in his place, but I don't have anything to go on that. Now the line has moved to -7.5. Boy, that's a tough number. I don't know if Lonzo is worth that much. He's a great defender, though, so I can understand why they moved it. I think it also does hurt their depth a tad. So 7.5, they crossed that key number with Lonzo going out. I think that if it wasn't around the key number of 7, it might have moved a little bit more. but it did not. So I'm going to stay away from giving you guys a pick on the side here, and I'm going to go back to the well with the totals. I think the totals have been easier to predict than the sides this year so far with all this craziness, COVID, this kind of season that nobody's really prepared for, and a lot of the handicapping trips that we used in the past, home dogs, things of that nature, are not necessarily as prevalent. So we're all kind of working our way together. So what I am going to take a look at from the betting perspective side is the over of 218. 218, a low number, but it reflects in those pace numbers that I talked about earlier. So that's why it's 218 and not in the 220s. But what we have here are two teams that the Pelicans were top 5 in defense after the first 5 games. They are not anymore. They're down to about the middle. They've been in the bottom 20 for the second 5 games. So definitely regression to the mean because they didn't look like a top 5 team. So, the Pelicans defense hasn't been that good, which we didn't really expect. But what we did expect is for the Clippers to have a fantastic defense. And so far, we have not been getting that from the Clippers. Right now, they're ranked 25th in overall defense. They allow 113.3 points per 100 possessions. Last year, they were in the top 5, 106.9 per 100 possessions. So definitely a drop off in the defense here. And I think I actually don't really know what to make of it. They don't really seem like they should be worse defensively. Maybe with Beverly getting less minutes, but I thought Ibaka was a nice little upgrade there. I think Batum plays solid defense, and Lou Williams has been getting less minutes. Maybe the subtraction of Marcus Morris has hurt them a tad, but not enough to where I'm thinking it's a little bit of effort here, a little bit of coasting. From the Clippers standpoint, right? It doesn't matter what they do in the regular season. All that matters is the playoffs, and I think that sometimes you're seeing that reflected on the effort on the defensive end of the floor. The Clippers average 111.8 points per game. The Pelicans are at 107.1. So, that gets us to, they combined average 218.9, right? So that's the line that the books hung. But I want to go over here. And the reason I want to go over is I just don't trust these defenses. I think that we're going to see a little more pace than usual. And I don't like the matchups for the Pelicans to be able to stop the Clippers. I think they get out and they score. And I think that the pace will be higher than what we've seen from these two teams so far. So the official play that I want to give you guys today is to go ahead and slam that over 218. I think it's a fantastic number. I think it should be around 222. So that is the play that I'm going to be giving you so far. A little bit of worry here, right? As I see that the Pelicans are 0-4 to the over on the road. So hopefully they turn that around tonight. Might be baked in the line a bit. Clippers 3-2 to the over at home. Clippers are 6-5 going to the over this season. The Pelicans are 4-5 going to the over. But to be fair, the Pelicans lines are usually a little bit higher than the Clippers. So that's what I got for you tonight. It should be a fun game. Fortunately, this game didn't get canceled as those of the subscribers at Run Pure Bets know that my official play for the Suns game was wiped off the board tonight as the NBA is following these COVID protocols. The Pelicans did not play on their scheduled game. Was it Monday? I think it was Monday night, and it was supposed to be against the Mavericks. That one got canceled. Interesting to note there. So they got an extra practice in. As we know, practice time is hard to come by for NBA teams during the regular season. I think this helped the team a lot. Did it help on the defensive end? Not so much. I think it helps them on the offensive end, starting to get into these sets. You start using the shooting of J.J. Redick, maybe a little bit more of Eric Bledsoe tonight. So overall, I think this is going to be a great game. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It'll be on ESPN, and I think the best play of the day is to bet the over 218. So guys, thanks for coming, hanging out. Hope you enjoyed my quick breakdown of the Clippers versus the Pelicans, and I expect to have a fun game tonight and a fun game with a lot of scoring. So let's go for the over. Thanks for joining me, and run pure.